Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri, and today we're going to talk about one of the most common questions I get, which is how do you set up meaningful self-learning projects? So first off here, I just want to kind of make the statement that self-learning projects are really good in the fact that you are self-learning. I think a lot of people, the tech industry is very different than the banking industry, but a lot of these things kind of tie together. Students really kind of dive into the fact that they want to do a self-learning project that looks impressive, right? Oh, I did, X, Y, and Z. I did image recognition, and companies are going to love this product and they're going to want it and they're going to pay a bunch of money for it and they're going to think I'm a genius and I'll get all these job offers. I think if you go into it with this kind of attitude, you're not going to do very well. And I'll talk about it as we go through the steps here of building a project somewhat. But the thing is here, self-learning projects should be focused on self-learning, right? The idea of this project is not to solve some problem. So in industry, a lot of times you have some problem, you're assigned to solve the problem, and then you use your skills, you solve the problem, and you come up with some great result. Self-learning projects, I think, should be somewhat the opposite in the fact that you don't even have a problem, you're trying to create a problem, and then you're trying to find creative ways to fix that problem. But the whole goal here is not really creating the problem or solving the problem. It's really learning all the tools you need to fix similar problems. So why this is helpful, I know on resumes, tech industry is huge on this. I think finance, banking, quants, not really as popular. I mean, I see projects that's really like a filler area. If it's something impressive, sure, right? I mean, it's okay on a resume, but at the end of the day, I'm not really looking for projects. But again, this would impact you and help you build a resume in the sense that I would like to see these under your education section in the relevant skills and topics. So I want to see that you know this, but also when I interview you, I want you to know all the answers. I don't want to actually have to ask you questions and then you stumble and don't know what you're talking about. So these projects are great if you want to learn new skills and list these in a resume in a unique format. Listing them as projects I think can be a little sketchy as I mentioned, but let's dive on in here and talk about kind of the main steps to creating a project, something that's a little bit worthwhile and trying to gain as much insight from this project as possible. So there are 5 steps to really creating a good, solid self-learning project. The first step is going to be setting a goal. So I think a lot of people don't do this, or they, in the back of their mind, they have a really undefined goal. I think it's best if you actually get a notebook, like I have, get out your pencil and write down your goal, what you're specifically looking to learn and get out of the project, right? So some examples I have listed out here would be learning to program in R better, right? So a lot of us already know how to program in R, but these projects should be able to do it better. You might have the goal of just doing it in general. You've never done it. You can do that as well. Other examples are learning how to build time series models better, learning how to explore data better, learning which statistical tests have more of a significant impact on the model type and stability, right? So these are getting really specific. When you start thinking, right, the first things that came to my head was okay, I'm going to do some stats type of project. That's easy to kind of explain and talk about because that's my background. But the first 2 things that really came to my head was, the programming language and then the statistical model type. But you really need to think about the details behind this. So I think this is hard as a student when you haven't done it. And I think some of these goals might come up as you're going through the project. But set a goal as detailed as possible at the beginning and then work your way through it and start getting going with the project and start getting your hands dirty at least to get started. The second step here is finding resources. This is by far the hardest step, I think, out of the entire process here. This again goes back to the fact that everyone wants this really impressive and exciting project. But the biggest issue is that companies have these really cool and unique problems they need solved, but they're not going to give you data for that, right? So banks have proprietary data. They have personal data on personal clients and customers. The tech world might be a little more lenient. There's web scraping and all kinds of stuff like that. So you could try to get data that way. But getting really good data is hard to do, especially when you have a problem or a specific thing you want to do. It can be really difficult finding data. So I would encourage you to search on the web, try to find data. The other thing here is finding software. So for example, I do almost all of my work in SaaS. SaaS is super expensive. You're not going to be able to find SaaS online. So again, picking R or Python, something that's free is going to be a better option. But again, you need to go get that to set up the project to really start doing it. And then the third piece here for the resources is the information. So if you want to build, say, I don't know, something as simple as an OLS model, right? You have to go find something if you've never done it. You need to find a textbook, an online resource. There are lots and lots of resources online. I'm a huge fan of textbooks for a variety of reasons. But at the end of the day, you need to find something that can help guide you. And then also as you go through your project, you need to be able to go online and Google things and find answers to questions that you have. Again, I would encourage you to put all of those questions on your notebook. Put your questions down, write them down. When you solve them, write the answer, because you're going to come back to this in the future when you're actually doing this in the industry, and you're gonna be like, oh, I have that book somewhere. I had the same problem and I had some solution to solve it. So it is optimal to actually keep notes as you go through the project. All right, so now the third step here is just conducting the project, right? You have the data, you have the software, you have your goals set up. I want to do X, Y, and Z. So I want to learn R better. I'm going to do that by building some stats model. That's what I want to work in. So we're going to build this model, and you just conduct the information and go through the process. So the fourth step here is going to be even more crucial than the third step of actually doing the work. After you come up with some method. So I see this a lot. I see students will set some goal like, I want to build an OLS model. They build an OLS model and they go, that was dumb and easy, right? I just programmed, this and this and this, regress this on this, and then this was the output, right? If you present that in an interview, I'm just going to kind of like, in the back of my mind, not out loud, of course, I'm going to be laughing at you. Like, this is dumb. Like, yeah, great. You can type in, OLS and then put in your parameters and then the model comes out. Who cares, right? I mean, I can teach anybody to do this. This isn't that challenging. The thing that I want to see is the details, right? Like, why did you pick the variables you did? Where is the variable selection process you went through? Was this variable better than that variable? What hard decisions did you make when building that model? And I think that's where people fail, is that you try to simplify it too much. And so this fourth step here is reviewing the project. And so when you review the project, try to make it list out again on your paper, on your notebook, or on a computer somewhere. Right? Write down all the things that you did on the project, and really think about, was that worth my time? Was it valuable? What on here was great? What was not? And then that leads us to the fifth step here, which is, what can I improve off of that list in step 4 that I reviewed? So now you reviewed the results. It looked good. It worked well. I completed my goal essentially. But now 5 is like, what can I make better? Like, right? What didn't work well? So step 5 is just improving that project, right? Going through the review process of, yes, I completed my steps, but now, what can I make better on this? What can I learn in greater depth? What can I do in better detail? So the reason I'm saying this is because typically you start off with a project and it's super simple and straightforward because you're a student or you're an industry professional, but it's an area you've never worked in or never kind of gotten your hands dirty with. And so now you're starting there and you do the simple project. Now the question is, what can I look at in greater detail? So for example, let's say I regressed an OLS model, my p-values all came out significant, and I did it all in R, right? So I completed my goal, essentially better programming in R maybe, but really I completed the goal of building an OLS model. So now the question is like, what can I do better? Right? So again, maybe you go through the same process a second time. Like, I built a model. Can I build another model that's better? Does it have better fit? Does it have better statistical tests? Does it meet all these criteria? Or maybe you look back at like the variable selection, or you look at like new ways to do this. Maybe OLS was a decent way, but you had issues with these tests, and yeah, you passed them kind of, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense. What if I built, like a general least squares model, so a GLS model? Maybe that would be better than an OLS model in this scenario. And maybe you found other different information while you were researching to build this project. Like, you saw another model on, ARIMA for time series, comparing ARIMA and OLS, right? And maybe your project was just an OLS model on standard categorical data. So this step here, the improve part, is kind of this repeat, like rinse and repeat, right? You need to go through this again and again to try to make this better and better and better. And I think when you do this, you'll start learning that you have to learn new types of programming to be able to do new things. You have to learn more statistics, more methods. You have to do more research. You have to understand the concepts too, like, why are you using an OLS model versus, like a logistic model, or why are you using OLS versus an ARIMA model? You need to learn all this. And so doing good projects, I think, comes down to the fact that you need to learn to go through these step by step and having these 5 steps of actually planning your project. If you are the type of person that goes out and creates this project and it takes you like a week and you're done, right? You wasted your time. Like, great, you can type on the screen, right? OLS, parentheses, data equals this, X variable equals this, Y variables equal this, and then you just run the regression, right? Don't waste your time, right? I think this is the biggest thing I see with people is they always list these projects, and then I ask them, what did you learn? And a lot of times they just don't give you a good response. And I'm with you guys in a lot of ways that it's hard to find good projects. I might be doing a few kind of self-learning projects with programming and models. So if you guys would like, you want to do a project, you can follow along on this process. But again, if you really want to learn deeply, I would encourage you to look at my projects if we end up doing these and then say like, Dimitri, why did you do this, right? I'm going to go and I'm going to do something different, right? I'm going to go in and say, oh, you're full of it. I don't believe you on the X, Y, and Z, or I don't understand why these assumptions matter. Go out there and violate those assumptions, right? Build your own model that doesn't follow those and try to find different ways of testing, because that's what we do in the industry when you do research is you find different ways for doing things. You have to find solutions that aren't like readily available online. So you have to find your own methods for doing things. So those are kind of my tips and tricks here. Basically, the number one issue here is just planning. If you plan everything out, you'll have much better success. You'll be able to talk about it better in an interview. And if you write all your stuff down, you'll be a lot better prepared for interviews, skills, and coming back to review those information and like data and stuff that you looked at in the past. So anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, until next time.